All right, you should have your foldable glued in like this on page 32. Okay, now on the front of the foldable, we are going to write an acronym that helps us remember order of operations, and that is PEMDAS. So I'm going to write it here quick, and then I will show you what I am writing. A and S. Okay, so for PEMDAS, the P stands for parentheses, and we'll get to this in a second. The E stands for exponents. The MD is multiply, divide, and the AS is add, subtract. Now, you might wonder why this has one big long flap, but these are two small flaps. A misconception that a lot of people have is that multiplying and multiply happens first and then divide, and that is not true. I would like to say that multiply and divide, it's like they're married, all right? And we have to do them left to right. One is not better than the other. So when we have multiplying and dividing, we go left to right. When you add and subtract, again, add doesn't always come before subtract. It's whatever's first, left to right, okay? So I'm going to add these arrows here. Let me draw them and then I'll show you. I'm going to add arrows like this to show that multiply, divide is left to right, add, subtract is left to right. Okay, so now we're going to get started. So what you're going to do, I'm going to write in Sharpie so that it hopefully shows up and you can see it better. But what we're going to do is at the top here, you're going to do it with a pencil. But at this very, very top, we're going to write our expression that we're going to solve these in order of operations. So again, I'm going to write it and then I will show it to you. So it's parentheses 7 plus 3, parentheses, divide sign, 2 times 3 to the second power, or 3 squared, minus 1 plus 2. Okay, so now I'm going to hold this up for you. And you'll notice I wrote it in the very top part. It needs to fit within this flap. Does that make sense? Okay, I didn't start way over here. I didn't take it way over here. It fits that so that when I open this up, I can write stuff underneath it and it would all be in that space. All right, so get that written down. Okay, so the first step is parentheses. So, lost my pen, here it is. What I'm gonna do is on this part of the flap, I think what we'll do first is maybe we'll write what all of these flaps mean, and then we'll go through and solve the problem that we have written down there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for a sec. I'm going to get all this written down, and then I'll turn it back on. Okay, are we going again? Yep, okay. So get it closer here. So what you can see is what the flaps stand for. So we'll go through them and then you're going to pause the video and copy it. So the P at the very beginning, we always do our parentheses. And I wrote down please under that flap because there's an acronym called Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. And some people like to say that to help them remember the order. So parentheses is first, please. Exponent is next. That's for excuse. Then if you come down here, push this down a little bit. You come down here to multiplying and dividing, again, left to right. My dear, and then add, subtract, Aunt Sally. Okay, so try to get it all on the screen here. Go ahead and pause the video. Sorry, hold this down. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and get that copied. Get those flaps copied down. All right, now we're ready to solve the problem underneath here. So I'm going to close my flaps. So we're going to start with the parentheses flap. So if you look, do we have any parentheses? Yes, we do. If we didn't, we would skip that step. So one thing when you do order of operation problems I'm going to be very picky about is you have to show every single step. And we don't ever write anything this way. We always bring our stuff going down, and I'll explain what I mean by that, okay? So parentheses, we're going to do 7 plus 3. So draw an arrow down because this is going to be underneath this P flap. And I want you to put a 10 right here. Okay? Now you're going to rewrite the problem. Divided by 2 times 3 squared minus 1 plus 2. And it can fill that whole space under that flap. Okay, so get that copy. Now we're going to move on to exponents. Remember, exponents are these powers right here, 3 to the second power, or 3 squared. And remember, this doesn't mean 3 times 2, it means 3 times 3. So that's what we're going to do next. So again, I'm going to draw my arrow down. This is going to make sure it's underneath the exponent flap. You can see that right there. Okay, so 3 squared, I'm going to write is 9. So there's that. Now I'm going to bring everything down. So I have 10 divided by 2 times 9 now, minus 1 plus 2. So again, that 3 squared goes away. It doesn't really go away, but we change it to 9 instead. That is under the exponent flap. Okay, now we're going to go to our multiplying and dividing. So multiplying, people think, oh, that comes first. But it does not. We are not going to do 2 times 9 first. We are going to do 10 divided by 2 because our multiply divide, we go left to right. So right here, I'm going to say left to right. Get that so you can see it. Okay, so you can go like this. I always like to draw these carrots. So we're going to go 10 divided by 2 is 5. Rewrite everything. Times 9. Minus 1 plus 2. Okay, so a second to copy that down. Now you'll notice I still have more multiply divide to do. I'm going to do my next multiplying still right underneath this space. Okay, so here's what you've got written down for. Anytime, pause the video when you need to pause the video. All right, now we're going to keep finishing here. Again, left to right. So 5 times 9 is 45. Minus 1 plus 2. Okay, it's still underneath that multiply divide flap. Okay, again, pause the video whenever you need to. Now we're left with adding and subtracting. Again, left to right. We're not going to do this add over here first. Otherwise, we would get a different answer. If we did 1 plus 2, that's going to give us 3. That would not, 45 minus 3 is not going to give us the same thing as 44 plus 2. Okay? All right, so left to right. So 45 minus 1. Again, we're going to go left to right. I'm going to write that down there. 45 minus 1 is 44 plus 2. And then our last step, 44 plus 2 is 46. I always like to circle my answer at the end. Okay? So now notice, on this problem, 44 plus 2, did I write equals 46 over here? No. Everything is going down in a line. Okay, everything goes down in a line. All right, pause the video if you're not caught up here. And then we're going to move on to one more thing. Okay, so now you're going to practice this with these pizza slices. So I'm going to go over one of these with you, but these will get cut out and you'll glue them onto page 31, right beside your order of operations notes there. So I'm going to do this one right here that starts with 36, okay? So I was going to cut it out and glue it on for you and show you, but I think I'm just going to solve it just right on this paper, alrighty? So I'm going to do this so I have something to write on. You might be looking at this and going, wait, we've got parentheses and these bracket things? What's that all about? Okay, so parentheses also can mean like brackets and grouping symbols is kind of what it is. So in this problem, you've got parentheses inside another set of parentheses or brackets. So you always do the inside ones first. Okay, so I'm going to do, so PEMDAS, all right? So please is parentheses. So we're going to do this first. So 4 times 5 is 20. Now, we're going to rewrite everything, times 2, and then you've got minus 36. But here's the deal. This right here is still in these parentheses. They're not gone yet. We have these bracket things. So I'm going to put those brackets around that. So we're not going to do this multiplying first. We still have these parentheses here. So we're not done with parentheses yet. So now we're going to keep working on what's inside our parentheses. So now 36 minus 20 is 16 times 2. Now we're ready for the rest of it. Exponents, do we have any? No. Multiplying and dividing left to right? Yep. 16 times 2 is 32. And we're done. There's no adding and subtracting now. Okay? So inside your parentheses here, you got to do still follow your same order of operations. And remember, there's still those brackets around there. So I think I see one other problem down here at the bottom where there's those 2 sets of parenthesis bracket thingies. So make sure you do that. Be careful up here. Get those parentheses first before you do that exponent. Okay? Right here, got some exponents. And then remember, left to right, multiply, divide. This one down here, again, you've got some parentheses. But inside the parentheses, do we add first or would we do exponents first? Be careful on that one. And then remember, this dot at the end would mean to multiply. All right, so you're going to cut these out, glue them on that page 31, and work through these problems.